Burning questions that are so hot, by the way, you can actually see on our graphic legit smoke starting to come up here. On today's episode, 5 Dolphins questions entering week 1 against Jacksonville. There are a lot of questions on this team and how this game will play out for Miami, and I wanted to take a stab at them just 48 hours away from week 1. And make sure you do join us on Sunday for week 1. I am going to be live alongside producer Joey Peterson for the first game of the season, Dolphins Jaguars in Miami. Subscribe to the channel and join us. We're going to be live an hour before kickoff at 12 p.m. Central Time, or 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Central Time. All right, first question, or fifth, if you will. The Dolphins' rookie impact. How will they fare? Because there are a lot of rookies that are expected to get a role on this football team early on. Form Chop Robinson, Mohamed Kamara, Malik Washington, Jaylen Wright. With Bradley Chubb on the PUP list through the first 4 weeks of the season, at bare minimum, they're going to have to require a lot of work and a lot of plays from Chop and Mo. Like, you have 2 solid edge rushers in Emmanuel Ogbah and Jaelan Phillips right now, the veterans. But behind them, it's Quentin Bell, who no one really thought was even going to make this team. It's Chop and it's Mohamed Kamara. So these 2 rookies are going to have to play a role, but so will Jaylen Wright and Malik Washington. And I want to start with Malik here because he's the one that might be thrusted into a massive role early than the others. Because you have Tyreek, you have Jalen Waddle as your top 2 guys, the best wide receiver duo in the entire National Football League. And that's not me being biased here. It's truly what I believe. And then, with no Odell Beckham Jr. right now, that is where it gets interesting. Because in certain 3 wide receiver packages, who is going to be that third guy? I don't think it's going to be Grant DeBose, who they just claimed 2 weeks ago off of the waivers from the Green Bay Packers. I don't think it's going to be Braxton Berrios because, one, I don't think he's that good, and he's not as good with the ball in his hands as Malik Washington, in my opinion. So to me, the 6th-round pick out of Virginia is going to get some calls from the coaching staff to get PT, whether it be just on a quick little screen pass, a pop pass, misdirection, an end around. They're going to have to find and scheme ways to get the ball in his hands because of how good he is with the football in his hands, making people miss and turning big plays from nothing. I think Malik Washington will get a role on the offense, and I'm intrigued to see what it is. But I'm also intrigued to look over to the defensive side. When you think of Chop and Mo, like I said, this linebacker room, when you include all the inside guys with the edge rushers, is one of the best in the entire NFL. And when Bradley Chubb is back from the PUP list, this is where it's going to get extra dangerous with him and Phillips on the outside with the depth of Emmanuel Ogbah, Chop Robinson, Mo Kamara. That's going to be elite. But right now, as it's just Ogbah and Phillips, they're not going to be able to play every single snap. And that's going to mean Chop Robinson and Mo Kamara are going to have to play significantly. And how they will respond to that is going to be key for Miami in this game. They need to make plays. They need to get after the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, but they also need to be good against the run game because we saw in the preseason and we saw in joint practices that Chop Robinson, as good as he is in his speed, his bendiness, his athleticism, and getting after the quarterback and making splash wow plays, he is not even close to being developed enough as a run stopper. Teams know that and will scheme a lot of run plays at Chop Robinson. So the young pups and Mo and Chop, when they're on the field, are going to have to make some plays. Which rookie will have the largest impact for Miami? I think 4 are the ones that you can name: Chop, Mo, Jaylen Wright, who we didn't really talk about in depth there, but he'll be on the field at times, and then Malik Washington. Which rookie has the largest impact on Sunday? Vote down below. Will Miami be able to stop the run? That's another massive question because the Fins actually were really good against the run last season, and I think it caught a couple people by surprise here. They allowed only 1,650 yards. That's 7th in the entire NFL, which also came out to 3.8 yards per carry, which was tied for 4th in the entire National Football League. But a lot of people would point to the loss of Christian Wilkins alongside the defensive line, and there's no sugarcoating. This is a tough loss for Miami because he is really, really good. You see his numbers from a year ago, and it's the reason why he got paid over $110 million over 4 seasons from the Las Vegas Raiders. It was just not feasible for Miami to pay that with where their cap situation was in March, I should say. And that's a tough loss. But when you have Calais Campbell coming in, you have Zach Sealer, it's going to be a run-stopping unit that I actually think is going to be better than what people think. Is it going to be better than last year's? Maybe not. But it is going to be serviceable enough, and it's going to have to be when you're playing a really good running back like Travis Etienne, who had over 1,000 yards last season and 11 touchdowns. And even though I didn't agree with the pick at the time from Urban Meyer and company taking Travis Etienne in the first round, because at the time they had James Robinson, who was really good as a UDFA, I didn't get it. But he's been one of the best backs in football over the past year and a half or so, and you're going to need to slow him down. And like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, they will run the football at Chop Robinson when he's on the football field in non-obvious passing situations. How will Miami handle that? That's a big question. Let's flip it over to the offensive end here. How many different formations will Miami use on offense? I am absolutely fascinated to see how this is going to play out in the creativity that Mike McDaniel schemes up here, because without a third consistent wide receiver, I expect to see a lot of 2 tight end sets, a lot of 2 running back sets, and a lot of intriguing play designs, whether it's Jonnu Smith at running back, Jonnu Smith catching an end around, a pop pass, a screen pass, Jaylen Wright spread out wide as a wide receiver, Devon Achane spread out as a wide receiver, and you move Tyreek Hill into the slot or Jalen Waddle into the slot. I think Miami is going to get very creative, and that's why they drafted Jaylen Wright. It's why they picked up Jonnu Smith in free agency, to have the versatility on offense that allows them to do different things. In case there is an injury to one of their top guys, that they can spread it around and still have a dynamic, layered offense that opposing defenses have really struggled against since Mike McDaniel became the head coach and play caller for this Dolphins football team. I expect to see a lot of intriguing formations from Miami, whether it be 2 running backs, 3 running backs, 2 tight ends. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's something that I can't wait to see. Dolphins football is here, baby. And if you want to get to some of these games, make sure you use Game Time, the best ticketing app on the market, to get these tickets. And they're actually rolling out a really cool new feature called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I just went to a game this past Sunday in the college football world, LSU USC. I was in Vegas, and guess what I did? I used Game Time to get those tickets because I knew I was going to get the lowest price guaranteed, but it also had cool features to make sure I knew what I was getting with those tickets. I've never been to Allegiant Stadium before, but I had no sweat of getting a bad seat because I used Game Time to see the view, the panoramic view from your seat. All-in pricing as well allowed me to see exactly what I'd be choosing in my price at tickets rather than getting blindsided by fees at checkout. It's the number one way to get tickets, and I like using them because it's so easy. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app today, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Jaelan Phillips, how will he play? How often will Jaelan Phillips play? That is one of the largest questions on this football team because obviously he tore his Achilles last year, Black Friday against the New York Jets, started the training camp and preseason on the PUP list, was elevated about 2-3 weeks ago, and all signs point to Jaelan Phillips being ready to go for week 1 against Jacksonville. And I'm not concerned about Phillips playing or not playing. I think he's 100% going to be playing. The question that I do have for Jaelan Phillips is, will he be on a pitch count? Because the Dolphins need him to be the active player that he is. Just look at a year ago. He was on pace to put up career numbers, and it wouldn't have just been close. It would have blown it out of the water. He almost amassed career highs in sacks and tackles in 8 games. That's the pace he was on last year. So if he's able to return and play even at 80% of that in week 1, the first game after coming off a torn Achilles, I think the Dolphins are going to be in a really good spot, and they're going to have to get after Trevor Lawrence. It's cliche to say in every game that key to victory, get after the quarterback. That's a key to victory for every single team and be said to oblivion. And Trevor Lawrence, though, it really is the case because when he gets pressure on his face and players come off him off the edge and he's forced to make quicker decisions, he turns the ball over. You see it. That's not good turnover to interception or turnover to touchdown ratio right there. Like, he's a very talented guy. It's the reason why he was the number 1 pick out of Clemson. But when you really force him to make a split-second decision early and coming off the edge and making him worry and thinking about getting hit, he tends to turn the ball over, which will only benefit Miami. But let me know, Jaelan Phillips, will he be on a pitch count this upcoming Sunday? I think he will be. I don't think, say the Dolphins play 65 defensive snaps, I would be stunned if he plays more than 40. But as long as he plays half, I'll feel very good about that. Will Jaelan Phillips be on a pitch count? I'm typing my Ys. Let me know your thoughts. Final question, and it's the question that has really held up this entire Dolphins football team this offseason. Can the interior offensive line hold up? Because as we currently are constructed, your tackles are normal, Armstead, Jackson. But that interior offensive line is very interesting. And this is what the official depth chart was for Miami in week 1, according to the team website. Robert Jones at left guard, Aaron Brewer at center, and Liam Eichenberg at right guard. And the reason why this is such a massive question to me is because, one, obviously you never want to see Tua get sacked, and that's what kills drives. But the Jags have a good defensive line and a good pass rush. Josh Hines, Allen, who has been dominant. He just got a bag this offseason after potentially leaving in free agency. Armstead, who joins this team on the interior defensive line. But the former number 1 pick as well, Trayvon Walker. So they have talent. They have good pass rushers. And this Dolphins offensive line is going to be tested. And it's not even just the passing game. They're going to need to be good in the run game as well, because you cannot become one-dimensional as an offense. No matter how many good speedy players you have and talented guys, you need to be able to throw different looks and different formations and different plays at opposing defenses to keep them guessing. And if you only have to drop back and pass every time because your offensive line can't run block and move these guys off their spot on the interior, well, you're going to have an issue moving the football as a whole. It's a concern for me. It's one of the biggest questions. It is the biggest question on the Dolphins for me. This Sunday, we'll get to see some of those answers, to these questions. And make sure you join us live, Dolphins Jaguars, this upcoming Sunday. Join myself, producer Joey Peterson, as we're going to be breaking down the first half and beyond of that football game. It's going to be tons of fun. Hopefully, we're going to be drinking, tailgating, partying to a Dolphins victory.